Welcome to this video on applying Stoic philosophy to manage social anxiety in everyday situations. If you struggle with nervousness, fear of judgment or embarrassment in social interactions, this video will offer valuable insights and strategies from ancient Stoic philosophers to help you handle these challenges. The Stoics, a group of Greek philosophers from around 300 BC, developed a practical system of logic and ethics to achieve tranquility and resilience amidst life's difficulties. While their teachings originated centuries ago, their core principles remain relevant and applicable today. In this video, we'll explore how to use key Stoic concepts and techniques to reduce social anxiety and boost confidence in everyday social situations like conversations, public speaking, networking events, and more. I will share wisdom from great Stoic thinkers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, whose words reflect a deep understanding of the human condition. The brilliance of Stoic philosophy lies in its simplicity and relatability. Anyone can understand and apply these teachings to their experiences and find solutions. I will use plenty of contemporary examples to ensure these ancient ideas resonate. Chapter 1. Understanding social anxiety. Social anxiety affects millions of people worldwide. The feeling of nervousness and fear of being judged or embarrassing oneself arises in social situations. As the ancient Stoic Seneca said, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." Social anxiety can manifest as physical symptoms like a racing heart, sweaty palms, shaky voice, or even nausea when interacting with others. But it goes beyond just feeling uncomfortable. It can cause people to avoid certain social situations out of fear, such as public speaking, meeting new people, or attending gatherings. Remember, if you aim for something great, you must dedicate yourself to something great as well. Overcoming social anxiety requires commitment, but the benefits of fully engaging in life are immense. Think about all the missed opportunities, connections, and constraints when social fears take over. Imagine confidently going after that new job, speaking up in meetings without hesitation, attending social events, and being present instead of being consumed by anxious thoughts. The Stoic philosophers would remind us that while anxiety itself is a natural response, how we perceive and respond to that feeling determines our suffering. As Epictetus stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." With guidance from Stoic principles, we can reframe our perspective on social anxiety from a scary obstacle to an opportunity for growth and mastery over our minds. Chapter 2. The Stoic Dichotomy of Control. One of the most fundamental concepts in Stoic philosophy is the dichotomy of control, the idea that we have complete control over our thoughts, judgments, and actions, while everything else, the behavior of others, external events, outcomes, is out of our control. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Regarding social anxiety, much of our fear stems from wanting to control the uncontrollable. How others perceive us, whether they judge or reject us, or if something embarrassing happens. But the Stoics argue that this is a recipe for inner turmoil. Imagine you're about to give a presentation at work. You may feel anxious thinking, "What if I mess up my words?" Or, "What if people think I'm incompetent?" These worries stem from wanting to control how the audience perceives you, which is ultimately out of your control. However, what you can control is your preparation, emotional regulation, and response to whatever happens during the presentation. Marcus Aurelius summed it up nicely. "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." Rather than agonizing over what you cannot control, focus on maintaining your preparation, poise, and rational perspective. This refocusing of energy is incredibly empowering. Let's look at another everyday example: conversing with someone new. The anxious thoughts might be, what if they don't like me? Or, what if I say something awkward? Again, their perception of you is out of your control. But you can control your inner calm through techniques like box breathing. You can control making eye contact and listening attentively. You can control what you choose to say or not say. Focusing solely on what you can control in social situations, the philosophy of Stoicism provides a robust framework for overcoming anxiety. Chapter 3: Practicing Rational Thinking. At the core of social anxiety are irrational thoughts and cognitive distortions that fuel fear and nervousness. As Epictetus wisely stated, man is disturbed not by things, but by the views he takes of them. Our minds can spin anxious stories and worst-case scenarios in social situations that have no basis in reality. The Stoics recognize that while we cannot always control our initial gut reactions, we can exercise control over how we process and respond to those thoughts and feelings. Let's look at an example of putting this into practice. Imagine you're at a party and see a group of people you don't know well. The anxious thoughts might start, "They're going to think I'm awkward and weird if I try to talk to them. I'll just embarrass myself." Your mind is already catastrophizing a hypothetical social interaction that hasn't occurred. This irrational view causes you disturbance and anxiety. A Stoic approach would be to pause, draw in a deep breath, and start questioning those anxious thoughts rationally. Is it true they will definitely think I'm weird just for trying to be friendly? Do I have evidence to say that with certainty? Even if they did judge me negatively, how big of a deal is that really in the grand scheme of things? Have there been times I thought people judged me harshly, but in reality they did not? By calmly interrogating the irrational fears with Socratic questioning, you can weaken their power over you. You realize the distressing thoughts are not based on facts, but pessimistic fortune-telling. The Roman statesman Seneca reinforced this by saying, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than reality." With consistent practice regulating your mind this way, you take back control from the irrational and anxious mental loops. You become more grounded in the present reality of social situations rather than getting hijacked by worst-case scenarios. Chapter 4: Building Confidence Through Virtue. One of the core tenets of Stoicism is that true confidence and self-respect come from living a virtuous life, following reason and wisdom. As Epictetus boldly stated, "No man is free who is not master of himself." You build unshakable inner strength when you align your thoughts and actions with virtues like courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom. This core self-assuredness becomes your unbendable rock in the ocean of social anxiety. Let's start with the virtue of courage. Social fears often stem from avoiding discomfort. We don't want to feel anxious, judged, or embarrassed, so we dodge certain situations altogether. However, the Stoics would argue that psychological discomfort is inevitable in life. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is change, our life is what our thoughts make it." By avoiding discomfort, we let our fears control us rather than our higher rational minds. True courage involves leaning into the anxiety and taking wise action for a higher purpose. It's having an honest conversation with a friend about an issue in the relationship despite the nervousness. It's raising your hand to speak up in a meeting when you have something valuable to contribute. It's introducing yourself to someone new at an event, even if your heart is pounding. William Makepeace Thackeray, an English novelist, embodied this spirit when he said, "Bravery never goes out of fashion." Each courageous action builds your confidence further for the next. It reinforces the belief that you have the strength to withstand life's inevitable difficulties. Stoicism also emphasizes the virtue of wisdom and its role in self-governance. Someone operating from wisdom has perspective. They do not make rash judgments or give unbridled power to irrational thoughts and emotions like social anxiety. The wise person can observe their anxious feelings and say, "This is just an instinctive response based on irrational fears about the unknown. It doesn't have to control me." They can regulate their mind and body through negative visualization, self-talk, and conscious breathing. Remember, with sacrifice before, no approach is made, nor can a thing be hunted down that will not run away. This means you must make some effort or give up something before achieving a goal. It also implies that you can only pursue something willing to move or change. If something is fixed or uninterested, it can't be chased or caught. Similarly, social confidence comes from diligently practicing wisdom, continually catching and reframing anxious thoughts before they run rampant. Finally, the Stoics revered the virtue of temperance, which is all about exercising restraint, moderation, and self-discipline. This is key for managing social anxiety, as the symptoms often involve a sense of losing control. Someone acting with temperance does not get hijacked by anxious emotions in the heat of social interaction. They can stay grounded and poised. They think before reacting. They have the restraint to pause and re-enter themselves when anxiousness arises, rather than letting it spiral. The philosopher Zeno of Citium described the temperate person as being unmoved by pains or pleasures. While feeling some nerves is inevitable, you can develop the mental toughness to keep that state from controlling you. You cultivate an unshakable core of self-confidence by embodying virtues like courage, wisdom, and temperance in your daily life. You stop being at the mercy of social fears and instead operate from a place of inner fortitude. Chapter 5. The Power of Present Moment Awareness. One of the biggest pitfalls that feed into social anxiety is getting trapped in your mind, caught up in worries about the future or ruminations about the past. The Stoics recognized the profound power of grounding yourself in the present moment. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, confine yourself to the present. When you ground yourself in the here and now, you can break free from the anxious mental loops of, "What if they judge me?" or "I shouldn't have said that." You can show up fully and connect authentically with those around you. Mindfulness and presence were intrinsic parts of the Stoic practice. They trained their minds to pay attention to the present moment with clarity and calm rather than getting lost in mental abstractions. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus advised, "Keep your attention focused entirely on what is truly your own concern, and be clear that what belongs to others is their business and none of yours." When engaging in a social situation, this could mean fully listening to the other person rather than internally judging yourself. It could mean taking in the sights, sounds, and sensations around you to stay present. By anchoring your awareness in the now, you start experiencing social interactions as they unfold rather than mentally time-traveling to past regrets or future anxieties. There are practical ways to train present moment awareness in social settings. One powerful technique is mindful breathing. Whenever you notice anxious thoughts arising, pause and take a few deep breaths, paying full attention to the sensation of air moving in and out of your lungs. This act brings your mind back to the present. Another method is grounding yourself through your senses. Take a moment to notice what you see, hear, smell, and feel around you. Describe these sensations to yourself mentally. By attuning your senses, you anchor yourself in the reality of the present moment. Let's look at an example. You're at a social event and feel the familiar wave of anxiety creeping in. The anxious thoughts are starting. Everyone's noticing how awkward I am. They must think I'm so weird. Rather than getting swept up by these fears, consciously redirect your attention to the present. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice the ambient sounds around you. Take a few mindful breaths. As you bring your awareness fully into the now, those anxious thoughts lose their grip. You can then focus on engaging with the person next to you rather than being trapped in your head. As Epictetus reminds us, man is disturbed not by things, but by the views he takes of them. By disciplining your mind to remain present, you gain freedom from the anxious mental chatter. You can start experiencing social situations with greater ease, connection, and authenticity. Chapter 6: Acceptance and Commitment. The Stoics were masters of embracing reality as it is and responding to life's inevitable challenges with grace and acceptance. This mindset is crucial for overcoming social anxiety. Often, we experience anxiety not just from social situations themselves, but from our resistance to those situations. We resist feeling anxious and think, "I shouldn't feel this way," which creates further inner conflict. The Stoics would urge us to accept the reality of anxiety with equanimity. As Epictetus wisely noted, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Rather than resisting or fighting the feelings of nervousness, we can accept them as natural and temporary parts of the human experience. Marcus Aurelius echoed this sentiment, stating, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." By accepting the presence of anxiety without judgment, we can diminish its power over us. For example, imagine you're about to walk into a social event and feel a wave of nervousness. Rather than thinking, "I shouldn't be so anxious," which only adds resistance and pressure, try thinking, "I feel anxious right now, and that's okay." Allow the anxious feelings to be present without fighting them. By accepting anxiety rather than resisting it, you create space to take action aligned with your values and goals. Commitment to your values is another vital component. The Stoics believed in living a life of virtue and purpose, which means taking meaningful action despite discomfort. It's about showing up courageously for what matters to you. If building connections and having enriching social experiences are important, commit to those values even when anxiety is present. As Seneca stated, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." Rather than avoiding social situations to escape anxiety, commit to engaging with them to grow and live fully. To illustrate, let's say you value forming new friendships. Despite feeling nervous, commit to introducing yourself to someone new at an event. Accept the presence of anxiety and act anyway. This act of commitment aligns you with your values and gradually builds your confidence. Each time you act in alignment with your values, despite anxiety, you reinforce your capacity for resilience and growth. Chapter 7: Embracing Impermanence. One of the fundamental insights of Stoic philosophy is the impermanence of all things. The Stoics understood that everything in life, including our anxious feelings, is transient and subject to change. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." This awareness of impermanence can profoundly shift our perspective on social anxiety. When we recognize that anxious feelings are temporary, we can respond to them with greater calm and perspective. Anxiety may feel overwhelming in the moment, but it will pass. This understanding allows us to approach social situations with a sense of equanimity, knowing that whatever discomfort we feel is fleeting. Epictetus advised, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Applying this wisdom, we can cultivate contentment and ease by embracing the impermanence of anxiety. For instance, imagine you're giving a speech and feel a surge of nervousness. Remind yourself that this feeling is temporary and will pass. By accepting the transient nature of anxiety, you can stay present and focused on delivering your message rather than being consumed by the fear of judgment. Practicing this mindset can involve daily reflection on the impermanence of all things. Take a few moments each day to contemplate the changing nature of your thoughts, feelings, and experiences. As you become more attuned to this reality, you'll find it easier to navigate social situations with a sense of calm and resilience. Chapter 8: Continuous Practice and Growth. Finally, overcoming social anxiety through Stoic philosophy is a continuous journey of practice and growth. The Stoics believed in the importance of daily reflection and self-improvement. As Seneca wrote, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." This means that consistently applying Stoic principles to your life can lead to lasting change. Consider keeping a journal to reflect on your experiences, thoughts, and progress. Note the social situations where you felt anxious and how you applied Stoic techniques to manage those feelings. Celebrate your successes and learn from any setbacks. This practice of self-reflection reinforces your growth and helps you stay committed to your journey. Engaging in regular Stoic exercises can also strengthen your resilience. Practice negative visualization, where you imagine potential challenges and mentally prepare for them. This exercise can reduce the impact of unexpected difficulties and increase your ability to handle social situations with poise. Additionally, engage in daily mindfulness practices to enhance your present moment awareness and reduce anxious thoughts. Remember, the journey to overcoming social anxiety is not about achieving a state of perfect confidence, but about continually growing and improving. Each step you take, no matter how small, contributes to your overall progress. As Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly." Embrace the journey with patience and perseverance. By integrating Stoic principles into your daily life, you can cultivate a mindset of resilience, acceptance, and growth. Over time, you'll find that social anxiety loses its grip on you, allowing you to engage in social interactions with greater confidence and ease. As you continue to practice and embody these teachings, you'll discover a profound sense of inner strength and tranquility that empowers you to navigate the complexities of social situations with grace and authenticity. Thank you for watching this video on applying Stoic philosophy to manage social anxiety. Remember, the wisdom of the Stoics offers timeless guidance for navigating life's challenges. By embracing these principles and practicing them consistently, you can transform your relationship with social anxiety and experience greater peace and confidence in your everyday interactions.